In this week's news, change in the gear system, for better or for worse. The Endless Child, the devs can't make their mind up. And also we'll take a look at some fan art. Hey people, Link here. So a roundup in this week's news. The talk of the town is the gear system. So they brought in this new kind of gear system where you can kind of like break it down now into, well, they're calling it XP, Enhancement XP, and there's very mixed reviews on it. I like how they've done it. I just think it's dead clunky how it works. They've kind of took away the system, as you can see here. I did just a test earlier on 5, and you can kind of manual discard yourself, or you can set it. So at the moment I've got it to set all kind of blue gear and only keep like 6 stars and 5 and 6 on the epics, so, or the legendaries. So it does work, but the only other thing is now this time you can't kind of lock. When you're looking at your gear, you have to kind of like go into your gears and lock it that way. So I do think that's a bit of a bug. I can't see the reason why they would take that away. So if we take a look, and this is where it actually sits now in your gear enhancement. So it's just the XP. You can kind of like put in only a couple. I think that's the only good thing about it really. That I like is that if you're quite close to the end, so let's say we just do this. So for example, you've got literally just that much off. You can kind of put in, and I suppose you can kind of just increase it so it just goes over. Could do with like a little kind of like push button there, so you're not wasting any. So you're not having to kind of like skip like that. So that'd be interesting if you could do something like that. But yeah, it kind of works. But I kind of like the gear system as it sits at the moment. I mean, you can't do anything with the gear that you've only got, so you can only do this with new gear. So all the gear that you're currently holding, you can't really change that into XP. This is a filter as well, so you can kind of pick and choose what you want to discard. So I'm saying like for the common, rare and elite, just get rid of like 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 stars. The rest I can kind of cope with. I like how you can kind of really filter it down to the sets and all that as well, so that'd be interesting more for the future, but I don't think that's quite needed just yet. So I like what they've done, but I think with it they've caused a few extra bugs with the locking system. I don't know if this is kind of needed. It wasn't really broken to begin with. The only good thing I do think is obviously the extra you can kind of loot, but yeah, I think the gear system's always pretty good for this game, so I don't know if the devs have kind of dropped the ball with this one. It seemed like they've had a bad week, but that's not kind of like, not get them hung, do you know what I mean? These guys will make mistakes. It's up to the community to kind of say, yeah, this is a good change, or we don't like this change, and they're pretty good at changing it. And this is a perfect example why sometimes the changes is not that good and the community speaks up. As you can see, one day, I think it was the 20th, that they announced that the Endless Child adjusted certain artifact and enemy strength in Endless Child. Now, I noticed the community was uproar with this and kind of said, well, they're not doing trials now, it's not worth it. Personally myself, I did find it a bit tougher. I kind of had to go down a bracket, but I find I use trial more for testing out heroes I haven't got, because I'm not like some people out there where I've got all the heroes. So for me it's good when you select and get a new hero. I kind of like to test them to see how well they do for the future. But obviously this has caused a bit of uproar, and I think the devs have listened, and just yesterday they've done another release saying they've adjusted the difficulty of the Endless Child to be closer to that before the April the 20th update. So they've kind of gone back on themselves and tried to make it harder, but now they've gone back and said, actually, okay, we've listened to you, you don't like it being tougher, so we're going to make it a little bit more tougher. I haven't tested it yet to see how different it is, but they're still saying to me that they've made it tougher, but closer to that before the April 20th update. So hopefully this little adjustment will be okay. I think they're doing this because they are going to be buffing more heroes in the future. So I think some of these heroes will be able to do well in the Endless Child that may struggle when it's tougher now. So who knows? They've kind of backtracked themselves. It's not been a good week for the devs. I do think they're not always going to get it right. Let's not, as I said, let's not hang them. You're going to get some wrong mistakes. but it's still a great game. Fantastic what you're doing. Keep up the great work, and the listeners to the community. So what more can we ask? And lastly, I'd like to just appreciate some of this fan art that people are doing out there. I think they need a big shout out because they're looking really good. I mean, I spent some time on this and not many people have seen it. So first we've got this one of Freya, which is done by Tavlevi, and yeah, it looks really cool. Well done, great work there. And also we've got here Hector, which is drawn as the Minutemen, which looks really good. It looks so detailed, great work there. And this was by Longshot, so well done, looks good. And there we have it for this week's news. Please check out all my other videos, and if you haven't done already, please subscribe and hit the like button on your way out. Take care, bye bye.